Lakshibhimsate Krimyo Sankhi Rudiko Pakshinam Dasalakshanam Trinksa Lakshani Pasava Chatu Lakshani Madhava. 8,400,000 species the soul can enter. Like 900,000 type of aquatics. Fish, lobster, crab, shark. 900,000 different species. 2 million type of plants, trees, flowers, herbs, grass. 2 million. Trinksa Lakshani Pasava, 2,100,000 type of insect, bacteria, worm, germs. 1 million type of four-legged animals. 1,100,000 type of four-legged animals, cows, right? So many different species of dogs, cats, cows, horses, mice, and human being. Total 8,400,000. So what is the unique quality of the human form of life, Phoebe? What can human do that other species of life cannot do? Right? Even dog has a girlfriend, children. Even a mouse has a house. He stocks foodstuffs. But only human being has capacity to practice spiritual life. Right? This discussion we are having is only for human beings. So eating, sleeping, producing offspring, quarreling, fighting with others, defending, this is common to all species of life. So if one gets the human form of life, but does not make some endeavor in the spiritual direction, then Scripture says that person is like an animal. But no horn, no tail. So don't waste this chance. Because Jivana Talama, Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala. In Bengali they say, no? This life is like a drop of water on a leaf. Any moment can fall. Right? Many people died today, never thought they would die. So before this body drops, and one day 100% guaranteed we will die. So before this body falls, we should definitely make some strong endeavor to understand, who am I? Right, I asked Phoebe, who are you? She said, I asked that question many times. So this question is the only question. Ato Brahma Jigyasa. Now you have the human form only for this question. Who are you? Are you English? Are you even a man or woman? Does the soul have children? Does the soul really have husband? No, this is only bodily identification. No? So, tonight is a nice story. I thought, what will I say? So tonight we're going to hear a little bit about the story of Bharat Maharaj. Sadly enough, many people think this is only one life. What do you think, Phoebe?
This is only one life?
People think we only get one life, one chance. They do not believe in reincarnation.
On the spot. Well, I had a near-death experience when I was 19.
What happened?
I had been in for an operation, and I was on the same day I was declared clinically dead on 3 different occasions, and I had my last rites read to me. But I didn't see lights. I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel.
That's good.
It was a feeling. It was a feeling of light. It was a feeling of the most...
Did you leave your body? Did you see your body from a distance?
I saw my body on the operating table.
Right. You're not the body.
I'm not the body. No, absolutely. Totally.
Right.
And it was the most beautiful experience.
So the soul level is the level of real happiness.
Yeah.
You are very fortunate. For a moment you tasted it.
I did.
And God is so kind, He not took you fully. Otherwise, where would you have gone if you had died back then?
I know. Yeah.
So this is some direct experience, also more than some lecture. So, unfortunately, many people believe this body is all I know. But this body has no life, right? This body has no consciousness. This body is made of atoms. Atoms have no life. So where is life coming from? It is not coming from the dead body. It's coming from the presence of the soul. When the soul enters the body, that's called birth. When the soul leaves the body, that is called death. But the soul never takes birth and never dies. That is only the body. So this is very first step in spiritual life. No, I am not. We can say it 1,000 times. I am. If we think, who am I? Am I the hand? If I was, imagine Phoebe, I chopped off your hand and threw it outside. You would stay here and your hand would go out the door. That means you're not the hand, not the leg, not the head, not the skin, not the meat, not the bone, not the mind, unfortunately. Now most people identifying so much with the mind. I am depressed, I am happy, no? I am fulfilled, I want this, I want that. But that is just the mind, but we're also not the mind. These two coverings, like two bodies, the soul covered by two bodies, the gross body, this thing, and the subtle body of the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. False ego means identifying with the covering. No? So the soul now is covered by these coverings, and we are now identifying this is with the coverings. This is called misconception, the bodily concept of life. In Sanskrit they say dehatma buddhi, thinking the self to be the body, thinking the self to be the mind. But we should try to go beyond that. So spiritual life is for that. So now we are covered by this body, earth, water, fire, air, ether. The subtle body of the mind, the intelligence, the false ego. The Gyanendriya, the senses of sense perception, seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing, touch. The Karmendriya, the senses of action, speech, digestion, moving hand and leg, genital, and rectum. No? So by these five senses we perform action. By the 5 Gyanendriyas we attain knowledge of this world. No? Sense of sight interacts with form, ears interact with sound, etc., etc. But we should know the soul has nothing to do with this, because soul is not material. No? So everything we are now experiencing, this is one form of illusion. Why? Because we have no real connection with it. No? So Guru Maharaj gives an example. If you take a little piece of gold and you cover it by a big pile of rubbish, plastic bags, sawdust, potato peels, and you make a fire. So when everything's burnt to ashes and you blow the dust away, what's left? What will you find, Phoebe? The piece of gold. So beneath all these coverings is the real self, the eternal self. Okay, so in Sanskrit we can call Atman, or even more simple, Jiva. Jiva means life. So therefore we believe the soul is, wherever you see life, soul is there. People think soul is only in human being. No. Wherever you see life, soul is there also. So soul is also in the tree, also in the plant, also in the animal, no? Also in the higher planets, the lower planets. Soul is there, moving through this cycle of different bodies, taking birth, becoming diseased, old age, and death. Birth, death, old age, and disease. So this is cycle, not just as human being phobia, but also as cat, as dog, as insect, as plant, as microbe. Again and again going through this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So this is called the ocean of material existence. Samsara. Have you heard of that word? Samsara? Samsara. Okay, you can get a tattoo. Samsara. So the human form is a chance to escape from this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. No? Scripture says this human form is like a boat. But boat needs captain, boat needs some favorable breeze, then this boat can take us across the ocean of birth and death. But we use this human body not for spiritual endeavor, but for some filling the stomach, earning some money, just to fill the stomach. Then we have misused the chance. So that chance will not be given again. You will go back. Just like you failed a school grade, what happens? You cannot go to the next level, you go back. So out of foolishness, we simply endeavor for the body. When we die, no? Then if we are unfortunate, misfortunate, unfortunate. Someone suggested my English has become terrible. It is true. You can go backwards also. So reincarnation not mean just go forward. Also, if you misuse the chance, you can go backwards. So we say, take care. No? Phoebe, if we die tonight, where would we go? What would happen to us? So tonight I want a little bit talk about the science of changing bodies, right? The science of reincarnation. Many people don't believe in reincarnation. But we see even in this one lifetime we have changed bodies so many times. Now we're all getting old, right? Me as well. Before we were this big in the wombs of our mothers. Where has that body gone, Phoebe? Where's it gone? Changed. Then we were born, little babies, little baby girls. Where has that little baby girl gone? Changed. Then small girls, teenagers, middle age, and moving forward. So even in one lifetime we have changed bodies many, many times. But still we feel, I have not changed. The soul has not changed, but body has changed constantly. Even the scientists say every 7 years you change 98% of the cells in your body. So we are changing bodies actually every moment. Every moment we are changing bodies. So the time of death will simply be another change of body. No? Because soul is eternal. Soul not began with his body. And soul not ends with his body. Okay? So the time of death, like a caterpillar, goes from one cabbage leaf to the next. The soul at the time of death will just move to another body. Which body? So that is determined by God. Okay, we call it the super soul, Paramatma, or Krishna. No? So Krishna is not responsible for the destination each individual soul attains. He is not responsible. We are responsible. We have done the activity. So the super soul, Krishna, God, whatever you feel comfortable with at the moment, he is just like a neutral witness in one sense. Thank God he is not completely neutral. But in one sense he is neutral. He just gives the result of action. Where is Adolf Hitler now? He is getting the results of his activities. Now we are experiencing the results of our previous life actions. Some people born in very wealthy families, they never have to lift a finger there for work their whole lives. Why? That means last life, some activity they did, some good thing. Some people from birth, so many diseases, so many sicknesses. Some people born in very tragic families, right? Violent families, or so much misfortune they have from birth. Why? Therefore some people become angry and lose faith in God. If there is a God, why he lets bad things happen to good people? We say that is foolishness. Everyone is perfectly getting what they deserve. Can I punch myself in the eye and blame someone else? So Scripture says, no need to blame someone else. No one else is the cause of your unhappiness or happiness, but your past activities are the cause. Okay. Phoebe, vegetarian? Time to make the move. If you are giving suffering to others, then this life and next life you will also suffer. Therefore, we do not believe in stealing, for example. What's the use in stealing from someone? In the future, someone will steal from you. Divine justice. So no need to complain about this world. This world is perfect as it is. Those who have divine vision say everything is perfect, perfect controlled. There is no, what's the word? Misjustice? Is that even the word? Injustice. There is no injustice being experienced by anyone at every moment. So what body we get? That is under the direction of God. Okay? So an intelligent person will not perform activities which give unhappiness to others. Because no, that will just come back to oneself. Understand? Again? What's her name? Say it again? Sheila, sorry. So, right, Sheila. So, tonight we'll tell a nice story about this. No? India, even now, is called Bharatvarsh. Bharatvarsh. If you look on the money, You can see that Bharadwaj. Named after a famous king named Bharat. Okay, he lived millions of years ago in Satyuga. But still, nothing changes. So don't think the ancient histories are not applicable to us, because they have the same problems we do. Birth, death, old age and disease. He was very powerful, very wealthy. Actually, now a king just controls a little area. But actually he was emperor of the entire earth planet. So much he was powerful. Not only he was powerful, he had so much youth, so much beauty, so much intelligence. Actually, he had everything. But king was not satisfied, because he had another desire. Some desire to attain Krishna. So Uttam Shloka Lalasa, it describes. He had greed to get Krishna. Greed to attain God, self-realization. Therefore he found no happiness at all in his wives, his children, his immense opulences, his lands, his cattle. So at the mid-age, he gave everything up. Scripture is sometimes funny. How he gave up, that is called malavatyag. Like someone had eaten so much, and when they pass stool, how they feel? Happy. Malavatyag means no one goes to the bathroom and passes stool, flushes it down, and oh no, such a nice stool, I have to leave. When you get rid of that guy, gone, oh thank God, he's gone, I never have to see him again. His renunciation was like that. Means some people renounce and lament, oh no, what about this? They have so much attachment. The king was not like that. He left naturally, and he felt so much relief by leaving. So he went to the Himalayas. That place is still there. What's it called? Gandaki. One river is there, Gandaki. Famous holy river in Nepal. So he went there. His ashram is still there now. Okay, so the king now he'd given up all his material attachments, so he could fully focus on Krishna. So we do not believe one should stay in material life forever. When sons and daughters are mature, when they're situated, married, and they have their own way of livelihood, one should not stay with whole life with children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. No. While still have strength, one should make some effort for freeing oneself from all these attachments so one can focus on spiritual practice. So king left in the mid-age. So he would meditate, take bath 3 times daily. And he reached such a level, described, his heart was like an ocean, like a lake, calm. And Krishna was like a black swan moving on that lake. It means king actually reached the position of remembrance of Krishna. So tears, when he would chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, tears would flow from his eyes. It means he reached the stage of Bhav Bhakti, very high level of devotion. But one day, by providence, what happened as he was taking bath, taking something to drink, he saw a tiger chasing a deer. Last night we saw a deer, right? 2 deer. So tiger was chasing the deer, and the king was watching. Deer was pregnant and running for her life, and the tiger wanted to take her. So the deer jumped across the river to escape from the tiger. The king stood up. Tiger became afraid and broke off the chase. So the poor deer, she crashed onto the rocks, and so much fear from the tiger, she gave birth. And the baby was floating in the water. By providence, by chance, the king happened to be there, and the mother deer was looking at him. You call yourself a saint? Won't you rescue my child? So naturally, the king, soft-hearted, the friend of everyone, he took the deer out and held it. So this is the nature of this is the divine arrangement of material nature. Everything small looks cute. Otherwise, parents would not take care. Like small chicken, even when everyone sees a small chicken, puppy, kitten, calf, horse, baby, everyone feels so much attachment. So king, what to speak of deer? Deer probably the cutest of all animals. So naturally the king's heart melted. Who has arranged this? He thought God has arranged. So this is my duty. So the king began to look after the deer. Especially Himalayas, little cold, so deer's like a little water bottle. You could imagine. He slept with the deer. Daytime, he feeding the deer. Some nice fruits, soft grass. The king, unknown to him, became fully attached to this baby deer. Even when he would try to meditate, again and again his mind would go, where is my deer? What's he doing? When the king would meditate, the deer would come with his very soft horns. Why are you ignoring me like this? The king would break off his meditation, see the deer, embrace and forget. And this way the king became, his spiritual practices became choked, restricted, and the king became fully attached to this deer. Even when he would sit and try to meditate, his mind would just go there. So the foolish king forgot about death, but unfortunately death never forgets about us. So when the time came, the deer had become a little big. He saw some other deer, he ran away from the king. And the king became like a madman. My deer. My deer. Right? Looking everywhere. So the king became, because the king had no other attachment except for that, so his full love he gave to that deer. He became so mad. In English they say man on the moon, right? The man in the moon. But in Sanskrit they say sasadara rupika, rabbit on the moon. If you look carefully you can see the two ears, the face, you can see a rabbit in the moon. But the king was thinking, no, this is my deer. He's gone to the moon planet. Like this, like mad. He would see the footprints. Oh, Earth planet, you have so much good fortune. You have the footprints of my son upon your chest. So king became like one mad person. Because he only had one affection, that was to that. So when broken, he also became mad. So the king died. And at the time of death, what did he think about? Shirley?
Sheila.
What is wrong with me?
He didn't think about me. I don't mind.
At the time of death, what did the king think about?
Well, the way the story's going, I think he thought about the deer.
He thought about the deer. So what you think about it, that what is your most dearest thing in this world, you will think of that at the time of death. So we believe if you think of this world, or whatever it is, at the time of death, you will go there. You will take birth near that thing. Your mind will carry you. Just like tonight, why are you here? Mind carried you. Some other attachment, more than this, you would not have come. Oh, something else is going on. So like mind carries us in everyday life from one situation to the next. At the time of death, your mind will carry to you to that destination which you are most attached to. If a man thinks of his wife at the time of death, what will happen? Next life, woman. Right? If one thinks of today, so many nice houses, we went for a walk. How nicely they're keeping the garden, the trees, the flowers, right? Everything perfect. At the time of death, if they are out of some foolishness, they think, what will happen to my house? My family members? Then they will take birth somewhere in that garden. Maybe not as a human being, mouse, insect, bird, snake. You have snakes in England? Snake. No. So this is the science of reincarnation. Your mind will carry. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yasyas tete ridida jana prapadyanti anidevana. At the time of death, what you think of, you will go there, Arjuna, without doubt. Yasyas te ridajana. So be careful. Confirmed. So Krishna gives some examples of this in Bhagavad Gita. This is our little main book. Krishna says, like a breeze in a flower. Right? Flower's there. The breeze carries the essence of the flower from one place to another. No? The flower stays there untouched, but the essence of the flower goes to another place. This body, like a flower. When we die, what happens? Body stays. But the essence and the wind, this is the mind. And the essence of the flower, which you cannot see, but goes from one place to another, that is soul. So Krishna gives some nice examples. So take care, be careful. Don't be attached to anything in this world, otherwise your attachment will be the cause of further suffering, further entanglement. People have no knowledge of this. No? That is the great tragedy. Like our spiritual teacher Prabhupada, one time he was walking in New York. The old men were playing checkers. He saw it, he began to weep, actually. How sad, he said. At the fag end of their life, when they should be absorbed in spiritual life, they are playing like children. No? So this is the great, people have no knowledge of this. Therefore people waste their entire lives being absorbed in that which has no permanent relationship. That with which they have no permanent relationship with. Okay, so what is meditation? Meditation means you should meditate on that thing which is eternal, which will give happiness. So that is God, Krishna. We will hear about him later. That's why we always chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because if you can develop attachment for Krishna by chanting his names, you will always remember him. And if you do not develop attachment for him, you will have to be absorbed in something. Then you will be absorbed in this world and continue the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So Bharat Maharaj, out of foolishness, out of some error, actually the great saints have explained, actually he was already perfect. But he did like this to instruct us. So he took birth as a deer. But because he had practiced spiritual life, that wealth which he attained by his previous spiritual practices was not lost. Normally at the time of death you lose everything, right? Everything stays here. And you go empty-handed. That's why all babies, when they're born, clench fist. What's inside? Nothing. And all people, when they die, what they take with them? Nothing. But one thing you can take with them. That much you practice spiritual life, that is always with you. That is never lost. Okay? That much you hear about Krishna, that much you meditate upon him, that much you do some service for him. No, that thing will be your eternal wealth. Joe, what will you take when you die? This class. You'll take that with you. That will never be lost. No? So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this path has no loss, no diminution. Whatever you earn, you can never lose on the spiritual path. No? So, the king, he made a mistake, no doubt. He took birth as an animal, as a deer. But his inclination, the wealth he had earned, his spiritual wealth, was not lost. So even as a deer, he had power of memory. He could remember. He could understand his mistake. So even as a deer, he did not behave like an ordinary deer. No? He ran away from the other deer herd as a baby. He went to live in the ashram, in the hermitage of the great saintly persons. Because the great saintly persons, what are they always doing? Krishna says, Matchita, Matkata Prana, Bodhiyantis Parasparam, Katam Riktas Chamam Nityam Tusyanti Charumanticha. Ordinary, unconscious persons, when they meet, what they discuss, this world. They cause themselves to forget who they are, and they cause the other person to forget who they are. Means they cause forgetfulness for themselves and for everyone around them by materialistic topics. What happened? What did she do? What did he do? Football, COVID, what's the government doing? It's all like forgetfulness. But the high-class persons, they always remember. So whatever they speak gives remembrance to them about Krishna and gives remembrance to others. Therefore they give happiness to themselves and to everyone around them. Krishna speaks this first. No? So the king, that's now deer, he ran away to the hermitage, where the saints are always chanting the names of the Supreme Lord, always chanting Krishna's name, form, qualities, and activities. What's God doing? He has his own life in the spiritual world. They're thinking and meditating upon that. So, happily he waited when this body will be finished. Dear body. When this body will be finished, again I will get chance in human body. So, I actually described, he saw one forest fire and he entered the forest fire, like committed suicide. If a human commits suicide, it's a sin, but animal is not. So he entered the forest, gave up his body, and he took birth in a very high and aristocratic Brahmin family. Right? What they call the caste system. But what is the real caste system? It has nothing to do with birth. The real caste system is based on one's natural inclinations. So those families who by their heritage, through their dynasty, they're inclined to practice spiritual life and only spiritual life. They're called the Brahmanas. So he took birth in that type of family. But he learned from his previous mistake. So he thought, this life, I will have no attachment to anyone. So even though he was self-realized, he had perfect knowledge, but he acted like a fool. The village idiot. The village idiot. So people called him Jad Bharat. Jad means foolish, stupid. Jad Bharat. He got that name, like a nickname. Who is he? Jad Bharat. Means fool. But he was not fool, actually, he was just pretending. So, his father had great hopes. My son will be a very learned Vedic scholar and bring so much good reputation to me. But Bharat had other plans. No matter how much his father tried to teach him to read and to write, to learn the Vedic mantras, Bharat never learned anything. Many years in school, fail. So father had great hopes, but he died with unfulfilled desires. When his father died, Bharat Maharaj had many stepbrothers. And when father left, then they also, this guy is idiot, fool. So they tried to engage him in some responsible work, but he would never do anything properly. Right? Plough the field. He'd do it with full enthusiasm, but in the wrong area. He'd plant the wrong seeds. He'd always do some nonsense. Dig a hole. He'd do with full enthusiasm, dig in the hole, but he'd dig in the wrong place. Instead of planting the tree, he'd cut it down. So after some time, everyone just said, just forget him. They left him fully alone. No responsibility, no marriage, of course. No one will marry their daughters to such a foolish fellow. So actually, he cheated everyone. And alone and unmolested, undisturbed by anyone, he could absorb himself in his own eternal life, his meditation. Describe even what's one service that even a fool can do? They put him in charge of the fields. And when the birds come, or the pigs come, or the bears come, you just bang this can. That's all you have to do. But Bharat would not do that even. All birds belong to Krishna. Eat, he would think. Eat. This way he lived his life like a fool. He never took bath. No. He remained like a diamond covered by ash. No one could understand his internal side. So he never took bath. His brothers also neglected him because he's not bringing any value to the family. They would feed him burnt rice, yesterday's chapatis, the old sabji, the sour cream. But he never complained. Everything he took like nectar. So one day, what happened? An extraordinary thing. The king from the neighboring country, now it's called Pakistan, that time was called Sindhu Desh. Actually, they call Hindus. The Muslims would say the guys who reside on the other side of the Sindhu River, they're called the Hindus. But actually, Hindu is not a real word. This is a Muslim word made by the Muslims. So the king of Sindhu Desh, his name was Rahuganath. Rahuganath was very proud and had a very hot temper. But he had some interest in spiritual life. So he was being carried on a palanquin. He was going to meet one great saint called Kapiladev. So as the palanquin, right, you understand palanquin, Phoebe? What do you call it? Sedan chair. Right? Carried by some slaves or some workers. They would carry the king or some high person. So as the sedan chair was going through Bharat's village, one of the carriers became sick. So they needed a new carrier, like a new spare tire. Who will carry the palanquin of the king? They saw Bharat, like he was built like a bull, but he never took bath. He had straggly hair, everything. Hey, Pagal, crazy guy, idiot, the village idiot. He will carry the palanquin. So by force, they grabbed him and put him in the front, carry the palanquin of the king. So we said before, Bharat never complained about anything. He understands this world. Everyone have a fixed amount of happiness and distress. Everyone has. You cannot change anything. So why complain? When some happiness comes, don't become mad. That is also temporary. And when some misfortune comes, don't become disturbed, because misfortune is also temporary. But our problem is when we get some happiness, we become mad. No? Like mad persons. And when some unhappiness comes, we also become mad. But Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, no, we should be like an ocean. In rainy season, so much rain goes in the ocean, but the ocean never goes up. Right? And in summer season, dry season, no rain goes in at all, but the ocean never goes down. So he said, someone who was called Sthita Pragya, Krishna calls, fixed intelligence. He's like the ocean. He never becomes happy when material happiness comes. He never becomes disturbed when there are some miseries, because he understands, like the non-appearance, like summer and winter are both temporary. So happiness and distress in this world are also temporary. Don't become disturbed. Don't deviate from your goal. So Bharat was like that. He never complained. Right? We make so much endeavor for happiness. Does it come? No guarantee. No one plans to suffer, but it comes automatically. So in the same way, don't make so many plans for so-called happiness. It will come. So Bharat was absorbed and fixed like that. So when they ordered him, hey, carry the palanquin of the king, he not complained. He agreed. And when he was carrying, right, 4 guys in the front, 4 guys in the back, everyone marching in a particular rhythm, right? Left, right, left, right. But Bharat, he have his own style. He have his own meditation, his own thinking. On the ground is many insects. So he also see that with spiritual vision. They are like brothers and sisters. Okay, they have a different body, but they're not some stranger to me. Why I should give them distress? So he had that type of vision. Krishna says, Suradam Sadhava Bhuttanam. What is a symptom of a high-class person? Who is the friend of everyone? Even animals, insects. So he would not step on them. So when everyone's going left, he's going right. You could imagine the scene. Everyone going left, he going right. Because the saintly person always have their own vision. They're not influenced by this world. No? Like a line in stone, you cannot remove it. High-class person you cannot change. They are fixed in their own understanding. No? So, the king inside, right, normally has a smooth ride, left, right. But now, king's going up and down, king banging his head on the roof, king become very angry. You could imagine. And king means everyone afraid of him. No? What the hell's going on? What you doing? Why are you guys not carrying properly? And all carriers become afraid. King, it is not us. We promise. It's this new guy. He's not cooperating. He's got his own method, his own style. No, king, it is not us. This new man. Then imagine the king looked at this. He think, crazy man, crazy fellow. Oh, my dear brother. The king spoke sarcastically. My dear brother. I know only you are carrying properly, but the other guys are not cooperating. I know. It's their fault, not yours. Are you mad? Are you foolish? Are you dead despite the life in your body? You don't know who I am? I'm king, and you are just a slave, a worker. So you better carry properly, otherwise I take your life. I punish you. So king, like very angry. He threatened Rahugana. He threatened Bharat. But Bharat never cared for anything. He not complained also. Yes, no, very good. He not said anything. But again he carried. And again he cannot give up his nature. There's a famous story. One time there were two persons, one saint and one ordinary guy. And one scorpion fell in a bucket. You know this story, Phoebe? Good story. Then the saintly person felt sorry for the scorpion, so he put his finger to let that scorpion go out. Scorpion stung him. Oh my God. Scorpion went back in the water. Then again, the saintly person felt sorry for. Again, he put his. Again, the scorpion bit him 2-3 times like that. And finally, the other man, he grabbed the hand of the saint. What are you doing? No, just leave the scorpion. Let him die. The saintly person said, even the scorpion cannot give up his nature. His nature is to sting, and my nature is to be kind. Even the scorpion cannot give up his nature. Why should I give up my nature like this? No? So Bharat like that. Why should I give up my own nature? So again, he's carrying like before. Then king become very angry. Oh, my dear friend, you are very weak, very tired. You have carried it a long way. Actually, just started 100 meters. You are very weak, very tired. I see it. Very thin. Great trouble you have carrying the palanquin. You have carried a long distance. But now you have disobeyed, and the king become angry like this. Now I will finish you. I will take your life. And Bharat, completely unafraid. King, I am not the fool. Actually, I think you are the body. And you think I am the body, but I am not the body. No? I am not fat, I am not thin. I am not large or small. I am not tired. I have no hunger or thirst. I am unaffected by sleep or the dream state. I have no birth, no death. I am the eternal soul. No? Therefore, you are the fool. You do not understand the difference between the soul and the body. Because I am not carrying the palanquin. This body of mine is carrying the palanquin. I am not carrying anything. Therefore, I experience no fatigue, no tiredness at all. I have nothing to do with this journey. I am unconnected with it. No? And you are also a fool, because you think, I am king. You are the king and I am your slave. But king, you should know this is a temporary position. Like things seen in a dream. No? Things in a dream are not real.